Welcome to The Source, where we combine the headlines with in-depth conversations with the newsmakers themselves. I'm Pinky Webb. Today on the program, Alert Level 1 remains over Mount Bulusan in Sorsogon following a phreatic eruption on Sunday. Residents were warned to stay away from the 4-kilometer danger zone. Relief efforts are underway, but the provincial government sees no need to declare a state of calamity just yet. PhiVolcs Director Renato Solidum and NDRRRMC spokesperson Mark Timbal join us live. PhiVolcs warning of another eruption after Bulusan volcano in Sorsogon spewed ash over the weekend. Authorities have already raised alert level 1 over the volcano following what is called a phreatic eruption. That's a steam-driven explosion that happens when water beneath the ground or on the surface is heated directly by hot rocks or new volcanic deposits, or indirectly by magma or magmatic gas. 24 hours before the phreatic eruption, PhiVolcs had recorded 77 volcanic earthquakes. PhiVolcs Director Renato Solidum advises the local government and the public not to enter the 4-kilometer permanent danger zone around the volcano. Let's now go straight to the source of the story. We have PhiVolcs Director Renato Solidum. Director Solidum, maraming salamat po sa inyong oras.
Good morning, Pinky.
So first, sir, what is the status of Mount Bulusan at the moment?
As of the moment, we can see that the summit of the volcano and a vent at the northwest part of the summit would be steaming. This is somewhat voluminous, and this would manifest the active hydrothermal activity beneath the volcano. For the past 24 hours, 27 or 29 volcanic earthquakes have been recorded, and that would be related to the ongoing hydrothermal activity.
Were there volcanic earthquakes prior to it spewing that 1-kilometer ash and plume?
During the day of the event, there were very small earthquake events, but the day prior to it, there were none or maybe a few earthquakes only, which is typical of Bulusan volcano. Phreatic eruptions are usually preceded by no significant activity, but if there will be, the lead time might be very short.
Right. So there was no, I guess, would you call threat 24 hours before the phreatic explosion? I mean, there were no really recorded volcanic earthquakes. It only happened during and after.
During the day. And so essentially, that is the purpose of the permanent danger zone in any active volcano. The permanent danger zone allows people to be at a safer distance away from the source of the explosion because of the threat of sudden steam-driven explosion, which happens not only here in the Philippines, but in other volcanoes in other countries.
Yeah, exactly, Director. Kaya nga ho dapat. But that 4-kilometer danger zone, are there people around that 4-kilometer danger zone?
Years ago, when we looked at this, there was no barangay center within the 4-kilometer radius permanent danger zone. There might have been a few houses within, so that must be re-evaluated by the local government to see if there are residents within, and they must be relocated outside of it.
And that has become a problem, Director, over and over again. When you say 4-kilometer danger zone, supposedly that means that there shouldn't be anyone living around that 4-kilometer danger zone.
Yes, there should be no permanent housing, especially because there can be sudden explosions or even rockfall events that might cause harm to the people inside.
Pero ang kagandahan din naman po nito, if any, is that with a phreatic explosion, for example, that happened Sunday, if there were people there, kaya nga siya 4-kilometer danger zone, they have time and the opportunity to leave the area. But so would you say, Director, that the phreatic explosion Sunday came as a surprise because there were no real signs prior to that?
Well, this is typical of Bulusan volcano, and in fact, other eruptions of a similar kind, the phreatic eruptions in other volcanoes, may not manifest very significant precursors. And if ever there will be, the time will not be enough. And so that is why for Bulusan volcano, the last time where magma actually rose to the surface was early in the 1900s. And what the people of Sorsogon have experienced this generation would be the small events related to the phreatic eruption. That is why at this stage of the Bulusan history, it is important that the 4-kilometer radius permanent danger zone is followed. But if ever there will be an escalation of its activity, then we will increase the zones to be evacuated.
Right. I think I was going to ask you if it's already recommended to expand the 4-kilometer danger zone to another 2, which would equal a 6-kilometer danger zone. Is that important, or should that be done already?
We have not done it all throughout the volcano, but in the southeast sector of the volcano, we have implemented at alert level 1 the extended danger zone of 2 kilometers. The reasoning is that there are fissures or cracks on the upper slopes of the volcano where steam or explosion can emanate. So that's why we extended there.
Director, Tagalogin po natin. Dito po sa tinatawag yung southeast portion ng Bulusan, in-extend nyo na po ng karagdagang 2 kilometers dahil yung tinatawag nyo fissures, o tama ho ba sa ano ho ba sa Tagalog yun? Bitak? Oo, bitak, ano po?
May mga bitak, oo.
At lumalabas,
may mga bitak po dyan.
at ang inyong observation, Director, is that bumubuga po ng steam itong sa southeast fissures or bitak.
In the past eruptions of Bulusan, may lumalabas talagang usok dyan. Kaya pinsan nakala ng mga tao, tumatakbo ng pababa ang deposito, but in essence, meron lang lumalabas na abo. No, but that is dangerous because it is nearer to the population center. So pagdating po ng extended danger zone, kung kailangan lang pumunta doon sa loob, extra precaution po sila doon.
But when you say southeast, Director, saang mga lugar tatama tong southeast portion? Would this be Huban?
Irusin po yan, Irusin. Bayan ng Irusin po yan. Yes.
Because the areas that experienced ashfall were Irusin, Huban, and another one.
Kasiguran?
Kasiguran po, right?
Yeah.
Opo.
Mainly Huban po yun kasi ang hangin ay papunta sa kanilang direksyon. The Irusin and Kasiguran would be traces of ash only.
Actually, that's what I wanted to find out, Director, dahil siguro tinatanong bakit yun yung areas, dahil yun po yung naging direction ng hangin.
Yes, tama kayo. Now, yung minsan tinatanong sa atin, gaano kalayo ang aabutin ng pagbagsak ng abo, depende yan sa taas eruption at lakas ng hangin, no? So kung mataas po yun, mas malayo po ang mararating.
Yeah, but ang taas po niya, was it 1 kilometer? Mataas ho ba yun, Director, yung 1 kilometrong taas ng ash plume?
Mga 1 to 2 kilometers, hindi po masyadong mataas yun, no? Minsan may mga eruption po sa Bulusan na mga 5 kilometro.
I see.
Driven explosion.
But when did it really last explode?
June 5, sabi ng huling eruption nito. That year in 2017, 2 explosions, and the interval was far in between.
I'm sorry, Director, I lost a part of what you were saying. The last explosion you said was in 2017?
Yeah, June 5, and then previous to that was March, no? So essentially, the 2 explosions had several months of interval.
March, and then after that, 3 months later, in June. Tell us more about the behavior of this volcano, Director Solidum, if you will. Let's compare it to Taal. I was reading about it, and it was saying that it doesn't really give signs, or yung behavior po niya ay it doesn't give you much warning that it is onto some sort of eruption. Is that correct?
That's correct. We need to consider 2 types of eruption in general. One involves magma, and the magma would rise towards the surface and either come out as lava or exploded out as ash. We call that magmatic eruption. Because of the volume of magma that rises, there are many signs preceding the actual rise of the magma to the surface. However, phreatic eruptions are non-magmatic eruption where no new material comes from below. So still the sign would only be at the uppermost part of the volcano. So the signs there would be either very limited or none at all. So warning phreatic eruptions would be more difficult than a magmatic eruption because of that kind of magma, a volume of magma would rise, versus the others, no magma involved.
That's a good way of actually differentiating the two, no? Director, yung magmatic at saka phreatic. What happened last Sunday was a phreatic explosion. Sa Tagalog po yung parang kumukulong tubig sa...
Papakulo ng tubig at yung usok po na lumabas, minsan dahan-dahan po yan, pero kapag nabara, nag-iipon ng pressure, or kapag mabilis po ang pagpapakulo, masyadong mataas kaagad ang pressure ng steam, yan po sumasabog.
Is there anything that will tell you, any equipment or signs or measurement that would tell you that a magmatic explosion or eruption is imminent?
Yes, for example, we will see a lot of an increase in sulfur dioxide that is emitted from the summit by steaming. Yesterday, we have no detection of sulfur dioxide, so no significant sulfur, no magma is involved yet. By the type of earthquake events, we will see if there is magma moving up the volcano, there will be different signature. Also, the deformation or pamamaga po ng vulkan will be very, very significant. As you punch in a certain volume of partly solid material into the crater.
Does it have 4 craters, Mount Bulusan?
Well, it has several craters. There's a summit crater. And aside from that, there are vents below the crater. And the vents are also sites where explosions can happen. So now, if one would look at the pictures of Bulusan, they will see steaming at the center of the summit. And then at the northwest, fronting Huban, they will see another point where steam will come out. We call that the northwest vent. That has been known before. Other vents have no steaming, unlike in previous eruptions where the fissures in the southeast would also show steaming. But it just manifests the fact that once there are other steaming areas beyond the summit crater, that the activity, boiling of water is more active than previous days.
Okay. And for the most part, which area or direction of the volcano when it erupts, for example, or has phreatic or even magmatic eruptions, saan ho normally nahuhulog yung, let's say, lava?
Well, it is more open to the northwest and southeastern side.
Okay.
Because there is a peak on the eastern side, but if the eruption is so strong, then it can distribute deposits even to the southeast and to the northeast.
Just an advice, Director Solidum, to the people of, those watching us right now, what should they do? What should they look out for?
Well, first, they should avoid a permanent danger zone of 4 kilometers. The extended danger zone also should be respected, those in the erosion site. And if ever they go inside, they must really be cautious and be ready to move away from the slopes. Second, if there will be an asphalt event, and if they are outside, they better, of course, put on their mask, better if it's N95. But if they can go inside, indoors, better to stay indoors during asphalt event. After the asphalt event, they need to clean the surrounding of the house, and especially the roads, because the ash can be, again, whipped and further placed in the air again to be to affect people. The fine ash is the more difficult particle that if people inhale it, it would cause respiratory ailments.
Opo.
Second, if ever there is heavy rain and because of the ash deposit on the northwest side of the volcano, lahars might happen as the rainwater would erode this ash and concentrate this along rivers. So people beside rivers should be prepared that in case of heavy rain and they see muddy or stream flow or lahar events, they need to evacuate.
I see. Okay, so siguro what to expect, would you say, as a last question, Director, the next 24, 48 hours would be very telling or important, or mahaba-haba pa kaya to? What to expect in the days or maybe the weeks ahead?
Mahaba-haba ito pag phreatic eruption. Sometimes the volcano will not explode for several days and then explode again. So we have to be very patient and strictly implement the precautionary measures. It may or may not explode soon, but in the past events or eruption episodes of Bulusan, the interval of eruptions can happen within days, weeks, or even months.
Yeah, very unpredictable, no, Director.
Yes.
PhiVolcs Director Renato Solidum. Director, always, thank you so much for your time. And coming up, several municipalities, particularly Huban, Irosin, and Casiguran, were covered in ash. Relief operations are underway. NDRRMC spokesman Mark Timbal joins us live after the break. Please stay tuned. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. I'm Pinky Webb. Let's get the latest on the ground. Our Stanley Gaheta now joins us live from Huban in Sorsogon. Stanley, what is the latest there?
Pinky, PhiVolcs recorded 29 earthquakes from 5 a.m. yesterday to 5 a.m. this morning. And resident volcanologist April Giano says that alert level 1 still remains in effect over Bulusan volcano. PhiVolcs says Mount Bulusan has inconsistent behaviors unlike Mount Mayon in Albay that shows signs of eruption. 13 barangays in 2 municipalities in Sorsogon province are affected by the ashfall as of 9 p.m. Sunday. So far, evacuees here in Barangay Tughan, Huban Town in Sorsogon are in good condition. All of them received enough meals and supplies from the local government. Governor Chis Escudero says in a press briefing they won't declare state of calamity as the situation remains manageable so far. Relief goods will be distributed to affected individuals once the situation becomes normal. Local government units and the public are reminded that entry into the 4-kilometer radius permanent danger zone is strictly prohibited and vigilance in the 2-kilometer extended danger zone and the southeast sector must be exercised. PhiVolcs adds that fine ashfall can cause irritation and breathing problems, especially among the vulnerable population like the elderly, children, expecting mothers, and those with respiratory disorders. And that is the latest here in Sorsogon. Back to you, Pinky.
Thanks a lot, Stanley Gaheta, reporting to us live from Sorsogon. Thank you, Stanley, and take care. Let's now go to our next source for today. We have NDRRMC spokesperson Mark Timbal. Mr. Timbal, welcome to The Source. Maraming salamat din po sa inyong oras.
Hi, Ma'am Pinky. Good morning po at sa mga kasama natin, mga kababayan. Good morning po sa lahat.
So, nakausap ko na po si Director Solidum, yung aming pong kasama dito sa CNN Philippines, si Stanley. Naroon rin po. Can you tell us also an overview of the present situation in and around the volcano?
Yes, ma'am. The NDRRMC is continuing monitoring of the developments of the situation in the localities surrounding Mount Bulusan. As of this morning's reporting, we're still consolidating the number of evacuated population. Pero po,
Mark?
yes, ma'am.
Okay, sorry. I lost you you said you're still consolidating the number of those who have evacuated. Nawala ho kayo after that.
As of this time, Ma'am Pinky, we received information na more than 100 persons po ang nag-evacuate dyan po sa Barangay Puting Sapa in Huban, Sorsogon. Huban, Irosin, and Casiguran were areas that experienced ashfall after the eruption of Mount Bulusan. Mm-hmm. We also received information po of the 14 hikers na safely naman po nakababa ng bundok, ng bulkan afterwards. Medyo naabutan po sila ng eruption po doon. But they were able to reach the municipality of Barcelona safe and sound along with their hikers. Continuing din po ang relief operations ng local government units at tama po yung binanggit nyo kanina that all of the operations items here are still within the capability and scope of the local government unit.
Wala pong kinakailangan for now. But let's talk about the 3 areas that have been affected by the ashfall, Huban, Casiguran, and Irosin. Doon ba ho ba sa tatlo, merong area of more concern among the 3?
So far, ma'am, we're seeing it as yung lang area ng Huban kasi yung bulto daw talaga ng ash ay doon lumandi.
Sila yung mas tinamaan sa Huban?
We received information po as of now, Mama, yung Barangay Puting Sapa in Huban, sila pa lang yung nakapagkaroon ng evacuation in the data that I have. Pero yung ating mga Bureau of Fire Protection teams naman po, I've heard that they're already doing cleaning operations. Binubugahan na ng tubig yung mga lugar na abot nila para magsimula na ng paglilinis nitong ashfall.
In fact, we saw that in many of the videos and even photos we're showing right now. Natakpan na ho kasi ng kulay gray o itim at puti yung mga kalsada. Ano po. And with that, of course, yung mga bumbero dumating to be able to mabasa itong mga lugar na ito. That's what they were doing yesterday. Pero hindi ho ba, Mark, umulan din kahapon?
Hindi ko po ma-confirm kung umulan doon sa area, but ito po kasing paggawa nila ng ganito, it's part of the safety precautions po. Kasi kagaya ng na-mention ng ating butihing Yusek Solidum, matindi po ang pwedeng maging side effect or irritation na mangyari kapag nalanghap or nalagyan ng mata ng isang tao nitong abon na ito, dahil hindi ito simpleng alikabok lang, kundi microscopic na mga bato-bato talaga. And that's why part of the supplies being given by the local government unit are the face masks. At kung may face shield pa, I think these are also being given doon po sa mga kababayan natin para karagdagang pag-iingat.
In fact, Director Solidum was saying mas maigi yung N95. He was saying for those residents na nakakalanghap or nag-experience ng ashfall. But Mark, we'll be taking just a very short break. We will be right back. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. Our source today, NDRRMC spokesperson Mark Timbal. Sir Mark, so apart from that, yung sinabi niyo nga tatlo, yung Huban, Irosin at Kasiguran, meron pa ba areas na kailangan ng immediate attention?
So far, ma'am, yan pong tatlo lang yung ating nabalitaan at kumikilos talaga yung mga local governments to assist the affected population. However, the NDRRMC po yesterday issued a reminder to all the local government units occupying the vicinity of Bulusan that all measures in preparation for any eventuality or escalation of the volcanic emergency must be undertaken, especially the evacuation of communities within the 4-kilometer danger zone. We were informed po kasi that there is a sitio in that 4-kilometer danger zone na may 66 families pa po na nakatira. The relocation resettlement program for that particular community is still ongoing, but the local government unit had made an arrangement with the community na dapat wala nang titira pa doon na dagdag from the 66 families, and that the family should be ready to move always in case of an emergency. So all assets po, all supplies, including facilities that will be used as evacuation centers, have been prepared in advance for this eventuality.
And these evacuation centers, are these the ones that were also used for COVID-19, for example, yung po mga quarantine facilities, kaya po nakahanda sila?
Kapag ongoing pa po na ginagamit as quarantine facilities, Ma'am Pinky, hindi po pwedeng gamitin as evacuation center. However, if the facility has already decamped, meaning to say wala na pong mga patients po doon at sinara na siya, this can be reverted back to its original status as evacuation center. And all of these facilities po had been inventoried by the local government and have been prepared for occupancy, along with the supplies that will be required by the evacuated population.
Sir Mark, yung mga LGUs, of course, this is going to be the main focus of the LGUs to be able to take care of the residents at i-evacuate sila if need be. Ano po? In terms of the LGU officials, who and what do they need? Who has contacted, for example, the NDRRMC, and did they ask for any additional supplies that they may need for the moment?
So far, ma'am, there is a close coordination naman po between the provincial and municipal disaster risk reduction and management councils, and they are in coordination with the Regional Disaster Council for Bicol region. And according to our counterparts at the DSWD, they have supplies of relief items, food, hygiene items, and other equipment, including water, as well as funding to support the local governments in sustaining the relief effort in case there will be extended evacuation activity in some of those communities. But so far, as we're seeing it, the local government units still have full control of the situation, very manageable, as what was mentioned by Governor Escudero. But we remain ready to deploy additional support stocks if in case they need it.
And also, is it, I read somewhere that it's a no-fly zone area for the moment, or obviously avoid the area, hindi ho ba?
Tama po kayo dyan. An advisory has been sent to our airmen, a notice to airmen to make sure that they give Bulusan a wide berth when they're flying near the area, so that in case a sudden phreatic explosion happens once more, there will be no aircraft caught up in the fumes.
Okay, NDRRMC spokesman Mark Timbal. Sir Mark, thank you so much.
Thank you, Ma'am Pinky. Good morning po.
And thank you for joining us here on The Source. I'm Pinky Webb. You're watching CNN Philippines.